What is it? Let me see it. Oh, the one Sam, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I actually have to say, I was in the end of a meeting when you sent that, and I started laughing. My boss looks at me, he's just sort of like, "Why are you laughing?" Like, my friend sent me this dumb meme. He's like, "Good, because nothing here is actually funny right now."
Welcome back to Souls and Swords, session 18 entitled Sailors on the Seas of Sorrow. Um, Last session, a lot happened, specifically the defeat of a demon prince, the obliteration of the espers within the esper edges, and the defeat of the mortal body of a demon prince, and then apparently the intervention of the Grey Order in the culmination of a wish that was utilized by Valette. Valette, as as you all have been off screen, toying around with the device known as Time, you have also been kind of noticing that you've still got the ring on, and it appears to have three small little kind of wispy green lights where the stones once were. Strange, but still present on your hand. Do you try to remove the ring? Doesn't come off.
Sam,
It's evil.
do you know for any reason why this expended Ring of Wishes would not come off my finger?
Maybe it's cursed.
The commands of the vehicle, this strange craft, that skyship that you found within inside the pyramid, seems to be well known. You know how to utilize it, and you have a pilot, a captain, under a democratic process, and several individuals tasked to the crew position of tactical. Which allows you to utilize deployed turrets and other portions of the craft. That's all well and good. You travel with the ship into the remnants of the city and load up a 500-pound gilded bowl from the remains of Lord Kergosler's manor. It's definitely a sight to behold, as it is a complete wreck, utterly destroyed, caved out, and basically hollowed through to the basement. It definitely causes stirs in everybody. Your base of operations, the place that you kind of have utilized as home for the past couple of months together um, during gang conflicts and mobilizing efforts to protect the city and the nobility and the royalty. You've come to know this place as home, and here it lies, nothing more than splinters, some of them the size of toothpicks. Surprisingly, the bowl is well intact in the basement. Definitely a long trip from upstairs, but definitely well worth the coin that Gilbert spent on it because it is not cracked or broken, just displaced and emptied of its contents. Vrac, I presume, and Valette are able to kind of get beneath it, together lift that up out of the basement and pull it out onto the ship, kind of rolling it on its side. It's no more than about 4 feet in diameter and probably only about a couple feet in dimension down. And you think that you'll probably be able to pull it out, and using the craft's beverage cart mode, be able to fill it with water as necessary. Great.
As a quick question, nothing else survived the house? Like none of the barrels of wine or
Completely destroyed. All of the books are basically nothing more than just burnt up, just smoldering bits. There might be a couple torn pieces of paper here and there. You don't even see the glyph, the rune circle that was in the basement. Everything about the house is completely and utterly destroyed. Besides that damn bowl. So,
Wait a minute. What about those friendship bracelets I had made for Brack and I?
you had those on you. You can just
Oh,
pull
sweet,
that
yeah,
out of
I
your.
have those on.
You can just
Best
pull
friends
it out,
forever.
put it on Brack, give him
Yep.
a smile. None of that bad stuff happened. And moving along, you all board the ship, and you have a plan in mind. I just want to make sure we agree on it here. So the pilot has control of where the ship goes moving forward. And what is your intent?
Right, so let's go and find Fogger.
All right.
So, for those watching at home, it has been quite a while since the name Fogger has been mentioned. Fogger was a Vidalcan.
The one time it was mentioned.
Vidalcan that was met on episode 15 of the second arc, Undying Winds, of this campaign. So that's probably somewhere around 30 sessions ago. 35 sessions ago. A very brief meeting, but it seems to be the direction that Sam wants to go.
You said it was
That's
on
impressive.
you said it was on the 15th session of season 2.
Session number 15 of the Undying
this-
Winds arc. Yeah.
This
July
was when
July 12th and 2019.
yeah, we were going to the Bloody Baron S's place,
Yeah.
I think, and
Bloody
then,
Duchess.
yeah, Bloody Duchess, thank you. And we ran into this one guy, and I didn't forget, and I wrote in my notes specifically, contact when I have plane shift.
I then scoured the archives and found him and remembered the small little beat I had after finding the notes I wrote down for him. And it aligns perfectly with our intent. So, the craft, are you going to be flying at a high altitude to try and kind of keep, a distance from people seeing it? Or are you going to keep to a low altitude to keep anything that might be still airborne from seeing you?
Ren says to Sam, the ship does have stealth mode. We can use the conceal command and it becomes invisible.
Would the captain like to initiate the conceal command?
Are you good with that, Sam? You're the pilot?
I really don't give a shit what we do with the outside of it. Make it look like a police box for all I care.
Well, I could do that, but we're not going to do that. So Ren gives the conceal command.
All right. It, not to your knowledge, because you still see it the way that you see it. The craft takes off. Now the question still remains: do you want to remain low, or do you want to raise the altitude higher? Pilot.
So I'm going to prefer, since I'm going to pick one, I'll go with high.
Okay. As you start to lift off of the city and move away, you notice that about a dozen sky ships seem to be coming in from the southeast. These are not similar to the conglomerate sky ships. Instead, these appear to be ships that are not being lifted by magic, but instead are being lifted by some sort of artifice. There are propellers, massive swelling orbs of probably filled with some sort of buoyant gas, and all about the balloons you can see that there are symbols and markings that appear to be of goblin nature. Gilbert,
Cool.
you immediately recognize that this happens to be the small enclave or clan of goblins that live in the Shattered Isles to the southeast. You believe that they probably received invitations to the royal wedding that was supposed to happen yesterday. Everything kind of moved pretty fast there, didn't it? But it seems that
They'll
they're
be fine.
probably coming to assist, just a bit late. Sam, not concerned with that, continues flying the ship aside. And again, you can see outside of the ship as if you were standing on kind of a plane with a slight guardrail. The tops of the ships are basic. The top of the ship is basically translucent when you're in this flight mode. If you're familiar with Flight of the Navigator, kind of similar in kind to that. You can see through the walls. That said, you fly over the woods, and you're making your way into find the tribe of the Dalkin you know about. Tell me how that goes.
I mean, I imagine once we get close, we'll want to try to use that locate command.
Okay. So locate is a navigation function, and you can't utilize it while you're in the pilot function, as we discussed. And you have yet to utilize the navigate function, or navigation function. Do you want to attempt to utilize that?
Wait, but
Yeah,
he
sure.
can't. Can he fly and navigate at the same time?
No.
Will we fall out of the sky if I switch things?
You don't believe so.
Okay, cool. Let's try navigate.
Alright. You hear a response when you say navigation as a command. It states, do you wish to continue your trajectory as proceeding, or do you wish to stop here?
Let's stop here for a moment.
The craft stops. You then switch into navigation mode. The second you do, the orrery snaps shut, and you feel this kind of strange sensation, Sam, as everything, including the other passengers on the craft, disappear from you, and you see that you are now standing, your body alone, out in the center of space, as if the ship wasn't even present. Standing in front of you is a very strange, spindly form that seems to be made out of metal, with a head very similar to what Valette looked like when her face was removed in her old form. This figure kind of looks to you and says, "Hello, Sam. I am Time. Welcome to the navigation interface. What would you like to know? Which command would you like to interject?"
Well, Janet, I mean, Time. Locate Fogger.
Calculating. Fogger is currently not in range of the locate function.
Good to know. If I exit the navigate mode, I'm out of this globe area thing, right?
Correct. You snap out of the navigation interface, and you'll enter into, you'll just say piloting mode.
Vrak, you know this area better than I do. Where would people be around here?
Do I have an answer for that question?
You're definitely looking at the forest a lot differently than you've looked at it before, because you're looking straight down at it over a rail. You're definitely more used to it on ground level and like under the treetops.
Right.
Go ahead and make a survival wisdom check.
First roll of the night.
Wee wee.
Nice.
22.
22 is real good. You start to see some features that you recognize. You definitely see one feature that you recognize, which is an old white tree with kind of orange leaves that seem to be present throughout the duration. You were always told that this kind of tree is something that kind of splintered away from the forbidden area, the forbidden glades, and some of them kind of pop up. Your tribes would regard them as marker trees and kind of use them as a way of tracking yourself throughout the area. You kind of start to realize which one this is in your mind and point him in a specific direction. And you say, "I'm pretty sure this," and you're kind of floating over a specific area. This is where they're located, somewhere around here.
There's your info, brother.
Right. So we start going in the direction he points.
Okay. No, you get there, and like I said, you're now over it, and then you are going to shift back into navigation.
Yep. Navigation and locate Fogger.
Okay. You see a glowing blue sphere appear in the trees below you. You can see through. It kind of glows through the trees. It seems to kind of like denote a location beyond them. You're familiar with like Overwatch and other video games that kind of mark a character through walls.
Yeah.
It's that kind of designation. Would you like to move to this location through navigation?
Sure.
The ship starts to move, and you kind of feel this weird sense of unease as everything moves, and you're standing out over nothing, or sitting out over nothing. Slowly but surely, everyone else sees the ship kind of descend through the treetops, move through a couple of trees, tilt at one point to get through a narrow space, and then move and land near what appears to be a massive, broken up mechanism of some sort. A massive kind of roundish machine. Appears to be made mostly out of bronze or brass. And it looks like it's kind of swollen with all of these strange kind of glass devices and what appear to be gemstones. And you can see that a couple of individuals, bluish skin, and very slender individuals kind of pop out and look out at you. For you, Sam, you see that one is glowing blue, and it appears to be Fogger, who you remember from the bar.
Do the rest of us see what's outside the ship?
You can see outside the ship, yeah.
Can we use the scope function and check out that object?
Well, no, you can see outside the ship right now. So
Oh, okay.
You don't need to use the scope function because you're probably 20 feet away from it.
Okay.
Yeah, the scope function
And
is for looking at distance.
But it also says gives data and insights into the creature or object.
Oh, sure, yeah. If you want to try that, that's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, even
Okay.
though it's closed.
Sam, do you pop out of navigation?
Yeah, I'm going to pop out of navigation. Are we... I'm sorry, I might have missed this detail. Did we actually land, or are we still hovering?
Do you call?
I'm going to just start to land us, and,
Okay. It's a soft, smooth landing on the wet dirt of the forest at the beginning of spring.
Are we still concealed?
Yeah, but it seems that they are looking at you as if they notice that there's something present.
I'm so tempted right now to just say time open and just walk out.
They know me, right? I've trained with them before.
You traded
These
with them
people?
before. Yep, that's right. But again, it was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Do we know what the trigger word is to end the different functions? Like, we said conceal to conceal it, but is there like an end or disengage, or do we know
Maybe reset conceal.
that? Okay. Yeah,
You could say-
when we're ready to do that.
Yeah.
I would keep the conceal on. Brack wants to see what it looks like on the outside.
Okay. As you're kind of thinking and talking amongst yourself and commanding up the scope and all of that, you can see that several of them start to draw out very strange-looking crossbows. And then you see them kind of pull back levers, and these blue arcs kind of connect the crossbows two ends to the back ends of the crossbow. They seem to be very
Time.
strange.
I was going to say time open.
Okay, so
Yeah, and I want to move towards that door too.
okay, very similar to Star Trek For the Voyage Home. A door opens out of nowhere. Light kind of comes out of it from the interior of the ship. They all kind of raise
Take
their
us to your leader.
raise their weapons up. You
Is he
can
phone home?
see one of them, who Vrack and Brox and Sam would recognize as the guy in the bar, kind of raise his hand up and kind of start jumping down to land on the ground between the massive ship and your craft.
Yeah, I'm gonna exit the door, arms up in the air. Old Blue Brothers. You're being a little hasty there.
They don't raise their weapons, but they still hold them. The one in the middle kind of looks to you and says, I didn't know that your clan was even capable of something like this. What? Who are you?
Nah, we found this thing, brother. We ain't built it.
Does anyone else come out?
I mean, Sam was coming out too.
I'll come out as well.
Yeah.
Samuel David Southwell, Fogger says.
Yeah,
We tried to find you. We couldn't detect you. Were you hiding from us? How were you hiding from us? You foolishly gave us your true name.
I'm a man of many talents.
Oh. Well, have you figured it out yet?
I have. I just need a tuning fork.
Fogger pulls out of his pocket a metal, seems to be a stainless steel kind of strange two-pronged fork. This is the one we need. We, as you can see, have been trying our best to rectify the problems that we've had coming down here, but haven't been able to acquire the resources because this place is so sparse. So, are you still willing to help me?
Yeah, sure. Got nothing better to do right now.
He turns back over his head and in a strange foreign language starts speaking to his associates. They lower their weapons and depower them, their strange blue energies. And then he kind of says, turns back to you and kind of like raises his finger. 1 second. I'll be right back. I just gotta get my stuff. And he hops back up into the strange ship. A couple of the Vidalcans still sitting there kind of staring at you.
Back inside the ship, if Ren is looking through the scope at the strange ship, what can he tell about it?
It seems to be just mundane. It kind of explains some strange notices about its construction. You can see that it has some materials that are not familiar to you, and it seems they're not familiar to the scope either.
Okay.
So, how y'all doing?
We're doing great. And yourself?
Not bad.
Are you really going to the stars with our friend, and you're going to bring back the Mizium we need?
Yes!
Oh, that's perfect.
Sam says, just not sure what they're talking about.
That's perfect. Great. We're going to get the fuck out of here. Maybe a couple more years, maybe. I don't know. Fogger's he's kind of quick. Maybe he'll help us out. Maybe it'll be quicker than a year. Who knows? They kind of smile.
Pardon me, but what is Mizium?
It's a metal. Wait, you don't know what it is? And you're... Oh, I hope Fogger...
I don't. My friend likes to keep me in the dark about things.
Oh.
I don't know what it is.
Oh.
John, do I have any idea what Mizium is?
Yeah, make an Arcana check.
Do I want to waste my inspiration for the natural 30 so I can just seem smarter than I actually am?
Oh, you know you do want to.
Yeah, I'm
The
using
question
that
is whether
inspiration.
you will.
So what's your result?
30.
Alright. So, you're very familiar with Mizium. It's a metal from the stars, to your knowledge. It's said to come from a distant realm known as Tabernae, and even further beyond the spheres beyond that. You have Mizium. If you still have the Mizium mortar you got off of Agent 47 upon his craft's defeat. The mortars were on the back of the ship, and they were used to basically bombard the lot of Tavern Lane when you fought his skyship and his Nectalopes. Yeah.
I don't know if we do still have that.
Well, I can tell you that the destruction of the city wouldn't have harmed it.
If they're still at Gilbert's place, maybe we should go get them in case we can
They wouldn't have
attach
been.
them.
You would have seen them. My presumption is that somebody had them, but if you don't have somebody listing it as an item you have, then probably not.
I'm trying to think. I'm just going through and seeing what I have. I still have the Clock of Evil listed on my thing, which I don't think is... It doesn't look like I have anything written down here about that, no.
You might not have taken them off the craft, to be honest. Now that
I
I
don't
think
know
about
if we
it.
did.
Because you didn't make it crash the first time, and when you made it crash, it was because Sarah went super crazy on the rooftop. So
Yeah. Oh well. So how much of this? So how much Mysium do you guys need, and what exactly do you need it for?
well, we could use about 1,000 pounds of it, and it's really necessary for repairing our ship here. When we were heading through the phlogiston outside the sphere, it was burning up the Mysium shell. We weren't expecting it to do it, and we started diving real fast towards the Malak Bragin, and oh, sorry, what do they call it? It's called the Dargian Rift. Yeah, yes, the Dargian Rift. This black central point near your sphere. And well, when we crashed through the sphere, we tried to send out a distress call, but we didn't have enough power. The Mysium's really what powers the ship, and it's also what protects us inside from the stuff between the stars. We came from... Well, don't be telling them that. Fogger will probably tell them if they're going out there. I mean, why wouldn't he? Fogger hops down out of nowhere. When you saw him before and just now, a second ago, and everyone here, they're all wearing kind of like massive cloaks, and they're 7-8 feet tall. So they just look like massive kind of like ponchoed individuals with crossbows and stuff pointing out and such. When Fogger comes down this time, he's lost the cloak, and he appears to be wearing very brightly colored materials here. Looks like he has a lot of gear on his belt. Some of it looks like just ropes. He's now wearing a scarf, or he was wearing a scarf the whole time. You just didn't realize it because of the nature of the cloak. And he kind of hops down, smiles, kind of looks to you all. I'm ready. Let's go.
Cool. Well, it was nice meeting you all.
He turns back and says something in a strange language back to his people, and then turns back and heads into the ship with you. So, this is a strange little craft. Where did you come across this? And he says that as he's handing you the tuning fork.
Hey, Captain, he's on the ship now?
Yeah, he's walking on board. He's kind of
Great.
maybe
I want to
about...
call ahead and say, hey, Captain there, we got to designate a passenger here.
Okay, so Ren would come forward. Gilbert, are you on the ship or on the ground?
No, I didn't. I was on the ship. I never got off.
Okay, so then we would introduce ourselves, I guess.
He nods his head as you each in turn kind of introduce yourselves, and he says, Vrack, sounds familiar again. And then, I've heard of Gilbert Kurgazler. You're a noble from the city?
Yes, Rastigar. These are my heroes.
Yeah, I've heard of Kurgazler's heroes before. I did not know I had met, or Sam, you were one of them, so interesting to note.
I'm technically not one of his heroes.
Fair enough. Don't really care about the semantics, but Ren, do you, as that's going on, designate Fogger as a passenger?
Yeah, absolutely.
He stops for a second as the voice of the ship says, "Hi, Fogger. I am Time. You are designated as a passenger. Welcome aboard." Fogger kind of nods his head. Interesting. Is that automaton, or is that a souled creature?
As far as I can tell, soul.
Interesting.
Like Valette was going to say.
You're definitely breaking a lot of the laws of the Zet, but I guess it's fine. It's
Well-
not too bad.
We just kind of found it this way.
Oh, sure. He kind of nods his head. That's fine. Well, that
Time, close.
it shuts. That key will take us to the Astral Sea. Not a designated location, so that's at your purview, depending on what you know. Real quick, everybody make a wisdom perception check.
Your 13.
15. Wow, I did better than I thought I would.
22.
Same.
24.
22.
Okay. The 24 is the only one who gets it. As he's talking, Gilbert,
Wow.
you notice that his mouth is moving, and he seems to be moving very quickly, and everyone else isn't really paying attention to it. But you very quickly realize that his mouth is not matching the words that he's saying. Like he's speaking a different language, or he's using his mouth in a very foreign way. Like it's not as noticeable as watching like a dubbed movie or something like that. It's very subtle, but you're kind of realizing that it seems like he'll move his mouth just a bit after he says this word, and you hear it, and you kind of are noticing that there's something strange about the way he's speaking.
Interesting. I would ask him, hey Fogger, do you have some type of dubbing technology that you're using?
I don't understand what you mean by that. What do you mean, Lord Kergosler?
You just seem to, your mouth doesn't seem to match the words you were saying.
That must be because of my earworm.
He's got a babblefish.
If we're going out and about, we might need to find you some as well. They might not understand your tongue. Unless you have means of casting spells that will assist in that regard. The languages off this world will probably be very foreign to your ears.
It's probably best if we find earworms so we don't have to rely on one person
Well, they're very costly.
translating everything.
I'm the only one. I'm the only member of my tribe who can afford one, and I don't know if they're. I'll be completely honest. This crystal sphere is kind of a backwater. We're kind of sad that we got stuck on it, and if it were anywhere else, we would probably be able to at least find ore that could be utilized as Mizian. But yeah, it's your plane is. It seems like the powers are being limited by It's a very strange place you live. Very strange place indeed.
Just to say, John, while all this is going on, I'm putting the tuning fork in though.
Okay. Do you
No.
use it?
You know, guys, it sounds like. Oh, go ahead.
Because
Well,
when you put it in,
yeah.
a specific one of the orrery's rings kind of cycles out, and you would very quickly identify that basically using this orrery's ring will basically trigger and cost you the spell slot to utilize the spell's plane shift to move the ship, not just yourself or the normal targets for plane shift.
Let's go!
Alright. So again, spell slot. Don't forget to
Yep, that's
expend
fine.
it.
I've already done that. So.
What's the casting time for plane shift normally?
Let us see. I don't think it's that long.
No, I don't.
It's instantaneous, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So everyone besides Ren, and that includes you, Sam, immediately have this feeling of your guts kind of dropping into, like, you know, the bottom of your core. And Ren, you kind of immediately recognize this kind of displacement, this shifting of like material body and change in your kind of temporal or astral state.
like the Feywild.
When you trance, it seems to be a lot more like but it definitely has a similar vibe to when you shift that way. Everyone else, it feels like you're being ripped very quickly upwards, and everyone can feel this just force, this magnitude of your bodies being pulled up and your contents being pulled down and away. And
It's cool, yo. Enjoy
John,
the trip.
John,
Just like
does
when
it feel like being drunk? You know,
it feels like
like
being
a glass of water.
drunk, like as if you were being drunk, like you're the contents and then the shift. No, it definitely feels like you're drunk, alcoholically so, and on a roller coaster as it descends for the first shot. So it's, but upwards. So
And Valette's experienced this before when she kind of tranced into Agatha, correct? Like a similar experience? You said it was kind of like trancing.
yeah, kind of. It's definitely new to you. It's not something you do every night.
Right, exactly. It's still like,
Yeah,
I have a memory of something similar maybe once, but
right.
it's not familiar at all.
It's definitely discombobulating. And the thing that kind of snaps you to it is also as you're looking outside of the ship, you notice that everything seems to be kind of tearing the same direction. So it seems like, your feeling is being validated by the presence outside, and then everything just stops. And you're inside of a starlit night. Everything is kind of like a deep kind of purple, pink, and blue. There's lots of dark patches, stars all throughout. And whoever's at the back of the craft, whoever would be kind of the one who entered in last, if you're kind of looking behind you you see a massive blue and green orb just kind of floating some distance away from you. Massive, gargantuan, bigger than you've ever seen before.
What's that?
That's where we just were. He points. It seems to be so far away. Unmathematically possible for you to kind of understand how far away it is right now. It looks like the moon does when you were on planet side. So this is as far out as I can get you. From here, I'm hoping that this craft might be able to assist. I'm glad we don't have to do it by walking. A lot of dangerous stuff out here. You're free to go where you want, but the goal is for me to find Mizium. I'm not very familiar with the crystal sphere here, so I leave it to you.
Right, so which direction do we go, Captain?
Wowza. Sam, maybe we should pull up the map that'll give us information about the sphere.
Yeah, sure. I do the navigation mode and get the map up.
Okay. The map currently shows you around you. If you kind of move it out from your space, because you can learn to do that, it kind of drags out to an entire sphere. And you can see that there are labels placed on each of the integral things in the
Well, actually,
sphere.
before I did that, what I was going to do was I was going to try to talk
2 times?
and see if either A, like Ren and them can hear me, or B, I can hear them if they try talking to me.
You can hear them and they can hear you.
Cool. Then I explore the map a bit more.
I guess the best way to explain it is kind of like putting on a VR headset.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wasn't sure if it was like putting on a VR headset or if just like
Shifting you away.
literally my senses were somehow.
Ren says to Sam, it has a local option and a sphere option, so a zoom and in and out.
Yes. So, what's in the area around here?
So you're basically there. Just above the plane of Urs. As you're kind of looking at it, you notice that there seems to be a well around Urs. Something that kind of draws in towards the planet, or towards the plane. Out from that, you can see that there are 2 massive clouds that kind of pull after Urs. As you can kind of feel Urs moving in this temporal space, it feels like this greenish rainbow-colored essence, which is labeled the Feywild, seems to be trailing after it, and the plane seems to be moving into the dark cloud, which seems to be listed as the Shadowfell. Kind of globally locked with it, like a moon, is a massive swell of chaos, of stone, fire, ice, wind, and the like. It seems to be the elemental chaos. The moon is not too far away from the planet, or from the plane of Earth itself. There's a white kind of dot or moat, which is listed as the source of the light winds, and a moat that seems to be listed as the source of the dark winds. You're currently inside of a conjunction. Think of it kind of like a Venn diagram of this strange pull around Urs and the Astral Sea, almost as if you were on the doorstep to the Astral Sea and not actually in it. You can also see that Umbra has not left the crystal sphere, but from your trajectory and tracking of the alignment, Umbra appears to be on a course to head out of the crystal sphere, kind of in the northern sector of it. When they were aligned yesterday, it was here.
Oh, that's
Ding, ding,
that's
ding,
really
ding.
cool.
So, if you want to mess with Umbra, it will need to be soon. Otherwise, it will be zipping on out of here. You also note that this Tabernet, which he had mentioned, is present there. Other than that, there's really not much, but everything you can see here is accurate to form. If you have any questions about anything that might not be marked or listed, feel free to ask.
Do we know the cycle that these planets are going to be cycling in and out of the sphere, like how long that takes?
So the only one that appears that it will cycle out of the sphere is Umbra. Umbra is something that kind of exits the sphere and re-enters the sphere, based on what...
Yeah, I was
long?
going to say we go to Umbra, because it might be a while before it's back, based off of what Sam knows.
Hundreds of years.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
a
Yeah,
while.
definitely. And then Ren would suggest Tabernet because that's where Fogger said the museum is.
Yeah, he knows...
Also,
Go ahead.
what is this thing here? Is this anything?
Yeah.
It's green.
So you're seeing what appears to be a mode of light. When you try and designate it to try and get an answer of what it is, it doesn't seem to have any name inside of Time's apparatus. But from what you can tell, it looks like a shooting star.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Andy.
Oh, no worries at all. I think you have a good plan.
Yeah, so we want to try Umbra first, since it's
Yeah.
going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I have no idea how long travel takes between this place. Can we get there in time?
We can try.
Interesting. Okay, well, all right. You can see that Fogger has kind of moved over to Valette and is kind of inspecting her just entirely. Seems to be focusing on you a lot. Definitely a lot of attention is being given to you right now, Valette. It doesn't seem to be like creepy or anything in nature. Just seems to have this kind of like analytic kind of gaze kind of staring you over.
Checking out your badonkadonk.
Do you have questions for me, Fogger?
No. Yes. He kind of reaches.
Yeah, I see you're a badonkadonk.
He kind of reaches forward and touches your armor plating. It's not very good. You're definitely an interesting specimen of construct, but this armor seems to be a little weak. Do you want me to perhaps bolster your defense?
That sounds like a lovely idea, for I do not know what perils we will face.
Can you remove your plating, or is it something that I would have to do to you? Is it integral plating, or is it plating that can be removed?
It can be shifted and rearranged, and possibly parts removed. It's been a while, but one moment. And Valette, since she hasn't yet today, goes down to the unarmored version of herself. And whatever that does to the plating, she offers up to him to
As you start
tinker with.
handing him plating, he kind of drops into like the lotus position, sitting over in a corner, and kind of sets the platings next to him as you hand them over to him. Even sitting that way, he is still about 4 feet tall, 4.5 feet tall. And so he's kind of setting the plating kind of next to him and picks up a single plate, sets it in his lap, reaches into a bundle and pulls out some really nice looking tools, Brox. You kind of... It's like... And he starts playing with the plating. You see him start to kind of like place kind of an oil on it and then start kind of tapping at it with a strange bit of tools, kind of moving the plate a bit. And then he pulls out some pieces of metal himself. Some of it appears to be platinum, and kind of settle it into specific grooves. And then he kind of takes the single plate, lifts it up, and kind of looks at your arm. This might take a while, but yeah, just leave me with it.
Of course, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Captain. Captain Wren.
Yes.
I think you might be able to get the distance, or at least how long it will take us to travel from one location to another from time.
Sure. Time inquiry. How long would it take for us to travel to?
10 cycles. 3 hours. 23 minutes. 11 seconds. At maximum speed.
Time, set course, and engage.
That is the pilot's function. Not a...
Sam! Sam, set a course for Umbra. Maximum speed. Wow, this feels so cool.
Time. Engage.
There we go. Engage,
Thank you.
Engage Umbra. The craft begins to move in that direction. If you all kind of settle into this very tight, compacted little shuttle space, let's go ahead and move through everybody and see what people want to do. We'll start with Joe Orbic there. He's been pretty quiet. Let's give him the time to shine. What would you like to do?
I'm not sure.
As we settle off, Proxcar is just kind of standing there, kind of... This is fucking weird. Alright. Feel free to jump in whenever you want if you have an idea of something you want to do. Gilbert, what would Gilbert like to do?
Oh, I'd probably be sitting and kind of meditating about Dim, who's a god of travel and luck, and I'd be probably praying for wisdom for the captain and probably also some strength and stuff like that.
You actually strangely hear something in your mind. And you hear, "Fortune favors the bold." And it sounds like an external voice, one that you've never heard. Like, it definitely feels like there's more of a connection in your prayer here than there was on the material plane.
Or it's Q.
Or there is a Q, and you better watch out because it's encounter at Farpoint time.
Sweet. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, John, I guess I'll, sorry, just to jump back in. I'll see if I can take a look at the tools that this guy's got and use any of it on the auto cycle to try to soup it up.
He looks over to you as you come over, and you ask him, and he says, "Auto cycle. I suppose I have some. I mean, you're welcome to use my tools." And he pulls out this small bag on his thing and kind of pours out more than the contents of the bag would normally hold, but lots and lots of different tools. Some of them appear to be made out of like mithril. Some of them appear to be made out of adamantine, and some of them appear to be made out of a strange metal that you're not terribly familiar with. But based on what you've heard and presume, it's this Mizium metal that he is looking for.
I mean, are there any tools that I have no idea what they do, like things that I haven't ever seen before?
Oh yeah, plenty of those. But there are definitely some that you can wrap your head around and kind of go, huh, that is a really cool advancement to what we've got down on the on Urs.
Yeah, I'll do some tuning now.
The Broxco's Grease Monkey.
Okay. If you pull out the bike, he kind of like, is on one side, and then you're kind of on the other side in the back. and he's playing with the plating, and you see him actually just stop for a minute as you kind of like look at a tool, go, all right, and it's basically like a spanner, but it has like a ratcheting setup. So like, you know, like instead of like a regular wrench, it's kind of like, you know, like a socket wrench with like the automatic kind of clicking and all that good stuff. I'm not a tool guy.
No, I got you. I'm following.
I don't know how to do stuff. Anyways, so you're basically playing around with the tools and like doing some maintenance on it, and you can see him just kind of stop from his plating and kind of look at it and go, "Wow, did you build that?
Aye,
That's interesting. Yeah,
with a bit of help.
I might have something to help you out with that. We might be able to come together on something. Let me finish this for her, and we'll be right over there." Is there anything specific you just want to kind of like soup it up, give it a tune-up, kind of fix it out, or is there anything that you're wanting to try and do with it here? Not much in the way of materials.
I guess the idea would be to make it more durable, because I have no idea what kind of terrain will be.
Let's
Coming up
plate
against-
this bad boy. You
Okay.
got so much free gold.
Yeah, you're doing what you can to kind of spruce up the mechanisms for shock absorption and the like that you already have on the vehicle. Go ahead and make me a, I believe it was Artificer's tool or Tinker's tools on this one. Check.
Can I help him with that? Oh no, I don't have Tinker's.
Yeah, if you don't have Tinker's tools trained, no, not so much.
So here's a weird question. Can we outfit this and make it like Lobo's bike? And that way we can have the main man on our...
If you can get the materials, yeah, you can do whatever you want on
That
this.
would be awesome.
What skill?
So it should be Tinker's tools, I believe, is what you rolled
Yeah,
last time.
I have it, but what?
Oh, sorry. It'll be intelligence, since you're trying to augment it and make it better.
22.
You feel like that what you're doing here, kind of bracing it, lowering down the gears, making the shock absorption heavier and set up so that when it actually hits rough terrain, it'll be, instead of roads, it'll be a bit more durable. And this is what you're doing while Fogger is finishing up the plating. While that's happening, Joe, Gilbert, Matt, you're piloting, but it's kind of at a point where Engage is kind of holding it in the navigation station. I didn't notice you had walked away. Do you want to come back?
It's fine. Basically, the two things that I want to do is Sam wants to get some tea,
Not hard.
and then I'm going to basically just sort of be studying the map for a while to see if anything in particular stands out outside of what I've already seen.
When you do use the beverage cart function, you see Fogger kind of go, "Oh, wow, that's interesting. Can anyone do that?" Or
Sure,
Yes.
give it a shot.
he says the exact same words as you, and then
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
as he says
Because
it,
Star Trek.
kind of displays near him, and he reaches his hand over, and you can see that his arm is like massively long, and he kind of just whoop, brings it over and sets it next to him into his pile of Villette plates, and says, "Thank you." All right, Villette, you're probably staying pretty close to Fogger, because every so often he kind of raises the plate to where it was on you and kind of just makes sure that it seems to be what he wants.
And I'm fascinated by what he's doing. Not that I necessarily understand everything, but I'm taking it all in.
You also notice that he seems to be kind of chiseling marks on the armor plating, and kind of these appear to be arcane markings that he's putting on them. So definitely something different, to be sure. And the armor that you have, it was the Mariner's armor plate, right?
No, I think Joe is wearing that.
Did you have magic armor?
Yes.
I never had magic armor. No, we never found one that kind of decided to work for me.
Perfect. This is great. Ren, captain. So there's no captain's chair, so to say. The captain's chair that is designated as captain's chair is actually where the pilot sits.
Uh-huh.
So there are two chairs behind him and then two chairs behind that. Gilbert, you said you were sitting down. I'm assuming you're sitting in the back room, kind of looking in on everybody as they're playing with their toys.
Sure.
Okay. And Ren, are you sitting in the pilot's chamber, kind of looking out the front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say time inquiry. What information can you provide about
not much is known about the satellite known as Umbra. Umbra does not exist normally in the plane of existence that we are currently in or tied to. It is known that Umbra recently has entered the crystal sphere surrounding the material plane of Urs and is designated to leave the crystal sphere in 33 days. Approximate.
And so, just as a recollection, John, you had said that it'll take us about 3 days to get there?
I think it was closer to, what did I say?
I thought you said 10.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was-
10?
Yeah, it was 10 days and like 33
Oh, okay.
hours or 3 hours.
3 hours.
So I just want to make sure that Matt gets that. So, Matt, it'll take us 10 days to get to Umbra, and Umbra will leave this sphere in 33 days.
Gotcha.
So,
So we've got
we'll have about a
43
week when we're
days.
there.
Right, 43 days.
No, the 33 days is within. That's
right,
not right.
33
no.
days plus 10 days equals 43 days. We'll have
I know.
43 days on
I know
Umbra.
my math is really bad, but no.
All right.
We'll have about 2 weeks when we're there.
Right, 43 days.
Yeah, sure.
Gilbert's saying a thank you prayer to his god that he didn't become captain.
You really, you hear a voice and it says, you really dodged the bullet on that one.
I dodged the big
That's
one
for
on
damn
that.
sure.
Sam, what would happen if we were still on that moon when it leaves the sphere? Or
No
would you
fucking
know,
idea.
Fogger?
Huh? Oh, well, if what your contraption just said is true, we would exit the crystal sphere, and if the moon didn't have protection against the phlogiston, we'd be burned to ash. Probably. Well, yeah, probably.
Sounds like fun.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah.
Or we could be torn apart by astral ghosts before that. I guess there's a lot that could happen if we leave the crystal sphere unprotected. Definitely not a good idea. Nods his head.
Well, good thing we've got 43 days.
And then he seems to be winding down on
Going to
his
get us killed.
artifice and kind of gets up and starts moving over to Valette and handing the plates back. And every so often kind of stops you as you're kind of putting them in and goes, oh, no, it's different now. So, and then kind of like looks into your arm and kind of like points to where it is supposed to interlock. And then he kind of like reaches in and goes and changes the way that it would interlock the way he wants it to. So he actually is messing around with the way you're built, if you allow him. Otherwise, I mean,
I'll trust him.
all right. He kind of rubs a little bit of the grease from like your interior, from your normal just lubrication. Kind of rubs it on his face and kind of like helps you put the plating on. Once you got it on, he goes, "How does it feel?" It feels much better. It feels +2 better.
Ow. So what's your base AC now?
25?
He says,
Wow, and that's before the auto shield?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what I can do. It's a kind of a trick. To be short, it's not permanent, but it will last until I decide to not have it work anymore. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
He gives
How
you.
would I go about making it be permanent?
Well, it is permanent as long as I want it to be. Does that make sense?
So as long as we're friends.
Oh, God.
Or as long as I'm alive. And he kind of gives you a smile.
Sam just
See.
starts killing him.
The plating becomes less good. Sam, if you forever or at any point kind of look in and see what Fogger is doing, make an Arcana check.
Yeah, sure, why not? Character sheet, there we go. Accidentally pulled up the dialogue. 28.
He's an artificer. Not too hard to find that out at all. He is definitely just an artificer.
Cool.
So you're not the
You know
only arcane spellcaster on board the ship anymore.
Quick note,
Wah, wah.
apparently my armor should have already been higher because of how it increases with proficiency bonus. So it's
So,
even higher than 25.
Valette has an AC of 30, and John is going to kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
He'll just kill Vlett with saving throws.
That sounds about
It's
right.
gonna take one crit and Valet'll drop. That's it. It only takes one shot.
So that does 9,500 damage.
Sounds about right.
Hey, John,
Shoot.
I thought of something else that Gilbert would do. He's going to talk to Sam and say, "Hey, Sam, do you think it's a good idea if we make a teleportation circle inside this vehicle? That way, if we're somewhere and we need to teleport, or we can make teleportation circles to different places we land, and then we can teleport from there to there."
Is this craft big enough to fit a teleportation
It
circle?
is. Yeah.
Sure, can fit his bike.
I think it's
It's like
a fucking
beaming
great
down. That's
idea.
amazing.
Yeah, why not?
All right, I'll start working on that then.
So you would know that crafting a teleportation circle, I believe, takes a year and a day. Let me double check.
It takes a year. I don't think it takes a year.
Wow.
You're right. That's a long
Not
time.
not of constant work though. So it's not.
So we could do it on time. All right.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. I mean,
Boy, this is a great idea, guys. I'm gonna get to work
I'm
on
gonna
this,
get-
but I don't think I'm gonna have time for that quartermaster job. So maybe just teleportation circle maker and medical. I
You
will
literally
fucking-
have to cast a spell a day.
Hey, this could be strenuous. I'd like to see
A spell.
somebody else do this. I know you could do it, Sam. I mean, somebody else.
It's really funny. John, how seriously do you care about the weight of the vessel?
I mean, do you mean the weight
Are
that's
you
going
planning to pork
into
it
into the storage, or do you mean the weight of the vessel itself?
No, the weight is going into the storage.
It needs to be accurately tracked.
Does that include our body weights?
You're not inside of the storage.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've got a track then.
The storage is like a bag of holding, except it has a entry the size of a whole door that opens on the wall, and it won't take any living souled matter.
Got it.
So it's like a porthole with caveats.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, Kevin, it's going to require you to cast the spell Teleportation Circle every day for a year on that space. So if you're expending it now, just note it, and always just remember that one 5th level spell is basically going to be slotted out if you're preparing your spells or are capable of doing so.
Holy shit, guys. I don't know if it's worth it, because I don't know if we'll have this ship for that long. To be honest. A whole
Not
year?
with that attitude.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's a 5-year mission, so
It's a 5-year mission. I need to know what the prime objective is before I start doing this. You know, are we just supposed to like not interfere with aliens, or what's our prime objective?
oh my god, this cat is being
We
really
aren't supposed to deal with pre-warp civilization. Come on.
This cat's being really cute, but she's sleeping on my mouse cord, so I can't move my mouse.
I just don't know if we'll make that, because that way, if I miss one day, then if you could have done it for half a year and it'd be screwed. I don't think that's going to happen.
Good.
We're going to be somewhere for a day and not be able to make it back. All right. It was a good idea. I'm thinking it may not work practicality-wise.
It's a good idea still. I mean, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But yeah, it's
I don't know. A year?
Why don't you try it?
What? I'll try. I
Yeah,
get
why
started,
not?
I guess.
okay.
I guess.
So go ahead,
I
just
don't
put a 1 and just keep track of that. It's gonna be a total of 10 by the end of this journey.
Right, but that's 300.
How many
Is it
days are in a
365?
year in your world, John?
Yeah.
365.
Damn it.
All right.
A year is actually only 5 days in the universe.
Oh my gosh, cat, stop being so freaking cute.
Boy, I wished we could be that cute.
Look at this freaking cat.
Speak for yourself, Kevin.
What's she doing? What is this cat even? What? I'm a kitty cat. Oh, so cute. Okay, anyways. I'm gonna try and get this cat away from my mouse, because she's being real cute. Oh, now she's attacking me. Okay, hold on. There we go. All right. Anybody have anything they want to do during the 10-day cycle? If not, please expend rations. Yeah. For 10 whole days.
Did we pick up rations, guys?
Nobody did.
Braxter as hell didn't.
One thing Vlett would ask is if there's anything he could do for the for Star Jumper,
What's Star Jumper?
my Pegasus.
Oh.
That's currently disassembled on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it back together, and I mean, you're casting a spell to activate it, right? You're basically using the greater find speed, right?
Okay, so this would require casting Greater Find Seed to then reactivate it.
Correct.
Summon it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It functions just like the spell, except that it's Robo Pegasus.
So,
Okay.
John, I
And-
just thought of. Oh, sorry, finish.
And would there be room for the Pegasus and the bike though?
Not at all.
So
If
it'll
Wait,
just
you
stay
can dismiss it.
yeah,
Can
if
you
you're
dismiss it? Oh no, it's
well, when you disassemble it, you can put it into your frame, just like you could do with the find
Okay.
speed variant. So it's not taking up any space. When you do it, it definitely causes Fogger to like, oh, what?
maybe you can look at that later to see if you could work your wonders on that as well.
That's awesome. He is
Also,
happy with that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we don't actually have to expend rations because I just remembered.
We have a
I
beverage
have
cart.
Goodberry.
Oh, don't we have a beverage cart that makes soup?
Makes
Well,
beverages.
it makes broth.
Yeah.
Broth is as good as we can do, but I also can make
There
10
are-
Goodberries every single
Pick
day.
it up.
And I
Protein
don't need to
shake
eat.
out of that beverage tray.
Yeah, I mean, you could survive on soup, I guess. I mean, it would definitely be a very diuretic situation, perhaps, but yeah.
Hey, as I said, Goodberry.
The
It
floors-
does fill you up all the way.
The floors of this pitch are going to get super slick, but,
those who don't
Goodberry.
want to eat good
One
berries can.
that there's enough nutrition to sustain creature for a day.
Is there a bathroom on this ship?
doesn't appear to be.
You know, we don't ask about those details in space, right?
Wait, guys, we have storage space.
You do have, you do have storage space.
How many
do.
pounds do we have left, Sandy? We gonna make
We-
it 10 days?
We have 8,300 pounds left, dude. I don't know about you.
Well,
I know
I'm
Vrac. I know
free
Vrac.
diet. I'm a little concerned.
I think we're gonna need a bigger bucket.
So, a,
Goodberries in storage space for the win.
a quick note. The average daily amount of excrement that is released from a person is about 14 ounces. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hold on.
Brack's not a normal person, though. His is probably 14 pounds.
I'm gonna
Is
go.
there an eject function we could eject that stuff?
I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I mean, you could just shit right out of the ramp if you wanted to. Right into astral space.
Guys,
Just
gonna
like
make us really,
Americans.
improve
the
our
best
reputation.
discussion ever.
I mean, just so you know, if you're gonna use the storage to do it, it's gonna be pretty messy. But yeah, you could do that if you wanted to.
Hey, Sam. If you
What?
guys want to, if you want to eat good berries, you can. But I can also create food and water, so you can eat like real food.
Okay,
But,
that's
you know,
fine too.
Berries might be good enough for you.
I was just specifying that I do have something that can sustain us.
We
Yeah.
won't starve. is
You're
what
not
I'm
going
saying.
to starve.
Yeah, I'm just basically saying we won't starve to death.
You
That
get-
was all I was
You
saying.
get the basics with the good berries. If you want to eat something a bit more substantial, definitely go for the create food and water.
And
okay.
hey, we can put that food and water into soup.
Yeah,
Whatever you like.
make the soup a little bit better.
Just make some ramen noodles. We're good to go.
Maybe if you're an elf, but you know, orc's not going to be sustained on ramen noodles
Uh,
or half orc.
I don't know, man.
sure he is. Ramen noodles
I don't know.
and a berry.
And a berry. Well, the berry
I
sustains
mean,
him,
it's
you're
got the chashu, it's got the veggies, it's got the egg. Oh yeah, it's all there, man. It's all.
Damn, that
Is
sounds
it-
good.
It does sound pretty good. I'm actually hungry now. But
I love how Gilbert is
The fuck?
avoiding taking the quartermaster by doing every other possible job on the ship. He's
I
gonna
know.
be the medic. He's gonna be the cook. He's gonna be the steward.
cook.
Like I'm just anything other than quartermaster.
I don't know why. Quartermaster's in charge of the weapons.
Kevin doesn't want to take
Puppet
notes.
quartermaster.
Seriously.
I've got it.
Captain might as well do it. That's what he's gonna do.
That's right. Now we
He
just
wanted
call
me to do it,
Gilbert
and-
Cookie.
Yeah, Sam could do quartermaster
Now
too
we
if
have
you
to call him
want.
Cookie.
Right.
Okay,
I-
He's doing it.
Right.
I shoot the weapons. I do that.
you're gonna play shoot the weapons. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
You should actually try them out, Brox,
Okay.
because you're going to be important for that.
Am I allowed to shoot them as well? I'm just not as good at it.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely.
Yeah, I
can.
think that you and Vrak
Alright.
will be best at the lance, which is strength based.
So Brack, I'm sorry, not Brack. Brox, I get you two mixed up because you're such a pair. You note that Valette is also trying to practice just like you're practicing with these weapons, but you notice that she's really not very good at it. Do you want to try and help her along and like explain how these firearms work, or are you going to just let her go on about her business?
I will try to teach young Valet
Very good.
While he's
Old Vlat, but yeah.
I just lap onto those
How old?
lessons.
Yeah, if it's
I'm
based.
at least 300, I think.
If it's basically
Yeah.
Broxgar's class of teaching how to use weapons, as you begin the instructions, Fogger starts paying attention, and every so often when Broxgar kind of says something and kind of stops for a second, is looking for the words to try and explain how to explain, like, something about this kind of weaponry, Fogger chimes in with, like, the exact right words, and Brox is like, yeah, that! And so you start to realize that Fogger is probably proficient with firearms as well. There's like
Dope.
this knowledge kind of
Good to know.
clicks.
It makes sense with him being an artificer.
He does start to
There, Captain.
he does start to play with the motorcycle, and the two of you kind of spend a bit of time after the shooting lessons for the day, kind of drawing out schematics and talking. And very quickly, Brox, you realize that there's like a kinship here. Like there's definitely like a very sound set of like disciplines that are kind of present in this person that you're familiar with. When you were being taught how to tinker, when you were being taught in the Talna Marie to kind of like build and design, these were like the fundamentals that you see present in Fogger. The two of you start planning something out, and then he explains to you that he thinks he has an idea. He can make the bike fly for a limited time, but he could probably make the bike fly. And
sold.
the two of
The
you,
main man.
the two of you start working at it together. Go ahead and make me a Tinker's Tools with Intelligence check, and you have advantage on this check.
This is a big.
Somebody
There
give
you
him that inspiration.
He had
His
advantage.
advantage.
Jordan has
Oh, that
advantage.
advantage. Oh, perfect.
Okay. So he is going to use one of his infusions. He's already used one on Bullet to infuse your bike with the effects, because it's technically a creature, is the way we're playing the vehicle. But he's going to infuse it with the same traits as winged boots. So it now has the ability to fly, and because of your check, it has stabilizers and can be maneuvered with its fly speed. So for, I think it's 2 hours a day in 1 minute intervals. So you can fly it for 1 minute and that's it, but you can't fly it for less than a minute. You can fly that fucking bike.
Hell yeah.
But again, he states that it's so long as he is alive and he maintains the infusion. He has a limited number of infusions that he can have placed, and that's one of them.
Very cool. Frack, look at this.
Do you wanna-
It's 4 hours, actually, not 2.
Apologies, perfect. He says to Brox, do you want to take it for a test ride?
Absolutely.
All right. He kind of maneuvers himself onto the bike and kind of holds himself, placing his two forearms on the wheel, or on the bars, and then his lower arms kind of hold the middle, kind of bracing him on it. He kind of looks at it. Yeah, I think I can do this. And he looks at the basket at the front of it. Do you hop in?
Absolutely.
I don't think I can do the command to open the door. I think we might scare everybody, but you might want to ask them to stop the ship for a second, because it'll probably fly off without us.
Okay, good point. Ren, stop the bus.
Sam, can you please stop the ship?
Why? I
I'm
stopped.
gonna have a test drive of that bike.
As I said, I stopped the ship. I just ask why and then stop it.
And then, do you open the door?
I open the door.
All right. He clicks the
Is this a
command.
good idea? And then I just do it.
Does
He clicks.
all of the oxygen warp out of us
No,
and we die?
no. A sweet-smelling air kind of fills the ship for a moment. Definitely not what you were expecting. And it doesn't seem that there's any pressure change or anything like that. There's just a sweet kind of air that kind of fills the craft. He, vroom vroom, you hear the bike start up, and he kind of goes off, and then he speaks the command word, and the bike kind of rolls off the ramp and just starts flying around in the astral sea. Just kind of moving about. And the two of you are basically flying around like E.T. style through
Born to be wild.
the astral sea, and he kind of moves it about, and he's kind of moving at the 120, speed, like straight at it, kind of moving towards the shuttle. And you see him kind of like have a moment where he's just like reflexively trying to slow it down. Make a dexterity save.
This is the best
No,
idea we've
not
ever
you,
had.
not you, Broxgar. Everybody inside the shuttle.
Oh, jeez.
This is the best idea we've ever had.
20?
You're gonna
Oh,
run me over,
jeez.
you guys.
Gilbert!
I just rolled a 2. Actually, I might use a luck point to get the fuck out of the way. Sorry.
I
for,
rolled a 9.
Yeah, if you
I'm
want
gonna
to spend a luck, go ahead and re-roll
I'll
it.
spend a luck point. I want to get the hell away from that thing.
Could I try to pull Sam out of the way?
I'm still the lowest.
You
I
would
mean,
have
if
a
somebody
plus
has
4
inspiration,
from me.
Yeah, Kevin, you have inspiration if you want to
Don't
get that
worry about
16 instead.
No,
Yeah.
no. I had inspiration because Sam gave it to me, but then he spent it. Remember? Right
No,
at the
that
beginning?
wasn't real. That wasn't real. That wasn't real.
no, that was my. I had inspiration already, which
No,
is why I came.
we're talking about when I told you to lose inspiration because you were being a dork, Matt. He thought that was real. That wasn't
Why
real.
would that be
Yeah.
real?
It was
You
not
lost the inspiration you gave me at that
No.
point.
No. You still have inspiration. Do you want to use it?
What do I do with inspiration? Reroll?
No, you just get the 16.
Oh, okay,
Well,
sweet.
what about Sam, who's going to die?
Well, I just meant, could I try to, because I'm nearby actually, could I try to pull him out of the way?
Don't worry about it. Just listen to what happens. So the bike comes rolling in. Everybody who was at the back of the ship kind of looking out, seeing what was happening. You see Broxgar just, flying straight into the ship. And he kind of like bounces around inside the basket. And you see Fogger like pulling back like it was a horse. Not knowing how to brake. Definitely a question he should have asked. And then he finally figures it out because Proxcar kind of reaches back and helps. And the bike slams into the back of Sam's chair as he's sitting in the piloting station. It doesn't seem to harm you at all. But it definitely kind of like knocks you a bit out of space. But everybody else magnificently dodges away from it to the sides of the ship as it
What are you doing?
drives into the front of the ship.
Sorry about that.
I apologize. I should have had someone who knew how to drive it try it. He looks over. He looks at Brox. He says, "Who normally? Do you normally drive it?"
The big brother.
He looks over at
I
Brack.
point to Brack.
Oh, yeah, it does. It definitely does require a bit of muscle, and you definitely have it. Do you want to give it a spin?
I've been waiting for you to ask, brother.
He says the clicking word or the command word, and kind of designates how you trigger the flight of it. And yeah, a lot more cautiously and a lot more gracefully. you fly the thing around. You feel that you have 360-degree maneuver around the craft, and then are able to land it with ease back in the space after spending, I'd say, probably a good 20 or 30 minutes flying around. But yeah, definitely something to take into account. You now have a means of exiting the craft and having a reconnaissance. If Ren wants to try his winged boots out in the astral sea, it's a very similar process for you, Ren, if you want to give it a go.
I'm good.
No thanks.
Gilbert, cast fly on yourself.
I could.
Yeah, I mean, if you stand out on the ramp and kind of like, pay attention to the astral sea, the air is very sweet. I would say the best way for me to describe the way the astral sea kind of smells is if you've ever been walking around at a carnival and you're pretty close to like the deep fried goods like elephant ears and stuff, that kind of just baked good smell. That's what the astral sea smells like.
Do you guys
Sounds
use
delicious.
elephant ears at carnivals where you live?
Yeah.
Do you have elephants where you live?
No, you don't know what an elephant ear is?
Oh man, they don't sell them in carnivals, but they have them in bakeries. They're the best thing ever, man. They're like these massive cinnamon sugar cookie things.
Yeah.
They're like bread almost. Fried.
Yeah.
It's fried dough.
Fried.
Lovely.
Okay. I've had fried dough before, but I've never heard it called an elephant ear. I got very confused.
It's just the
about
size.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
the
a really
carnivals
big
that
piece of
people
fried
are
dough.
throwing
It's
slaughtering elephants for their ears.
in
Uh,
Indiana.
At least to me.
I mean, to be fair, that is also delicious.
Yeah. I mean, so
One more reason to fly over that state, I guess.
Sam, when your parents come back from Africa. Not Sam, sorry, Matt. Wow, I just did it. Anyways,
It's okay, I knew what you meant.
after flying and being cool, not spending too much time down, you craft back up and fly on. So expending the rations and obviously utilizing the back placement. When you do defecate off the back of the ship, it seems to just kind of float like out. Gravity seems to lose it once it gets off the edge of the ramp. And it kind of zips away because the ship is still going. But yeah, there's no like
Not very
resistance.
environmentally conscious, but
No, you're definitely.
Yeah, it's not cool, man.
If that's what you're wanting to do, if you want to store it, then someone's going to need to store it. But I just need to know what's your method. Are you shitting
That
in
sounds like the quartermaster's job.
Yeah, Gilbert.
Good thing I'm not the quartermaster.
Yeah.
That would be his job.
That'd be a shitty.
can I
That'd be a
keep
shitty
track
job.
of each bowel movement?
Whatever you need to do, Gilbert. Whatever you need to do to feel better.
Whatever. That'd be a really shitty job. So that's not what you're doing. You are just
No.
releasing off the edge of the ship. Okay, cool.
Could the bike or the Pegasus fit through the door to the storage area?
Yeah, both can.
Okay. I would, during the extended period, then just cast Robo Pegasus and let it stay there, just so it's not using a spell slot every day.
How much does it weigh?
Hold on.
Not as much as Brack's crap.
It's about 2,000 pounds for the, or 2,500 pounds for the horse.
Wow. Okay. We're almost at half capacity.
Nice. Yeah, just keep shitting in it. Anyway, that said,
This is the best trip ever, guys.
Yeah, this is an awesome space trip.
is anybody low on? There's no like lowness on rations. You have a means of creating food and water. You're good. So there's really nothing in between. Let me just roll some dice here real quick to make sure nothing happens.
Can
So-
I craft bullets and bolts for myself?
Yeah, during that downtime, sure. It's gonna be 10 days.
Sweet.
We actually get tracked down by our shit trail, guys.
Do you have the materials to do so?
Bullets probably. I don't really know what to do to make.
For bolts, you would just need wood and metal. I don't think you have much in either of those that's free or loose and about. But if you do go about that, he says, Fogger kind of looks over to you and says, I got something better for you if you are interested.
Yeah, is it laser?
It's not lasers. That's.
Are
yeah.
you sure it's not lasers?
Yes.
Show me.
He takes your crossbow from you and kind of looks it over, and he then spends some time with you explaining what he's doing, and he takes the repeating section that you have, kind of takes it away, pulls out this strange glass vial, sets it inside, wrapping a little copper wire around it, kind of locks it into place, settles another piece in there, and then kind of puts the repeating crossbows like load back in. It takes about an hour to do all this, and after a fashion, he finally sets it to right and asks you to open up the back door. Of course, you do it, and he says, "Go ahead and take a couple shots with it." And it was a +1 crossbow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Heavy.
It's still a +1 heavy crossbow. Okay. But yeah,
But now with a laser.
you click it back, you fire it off. As you do so, you hear a buzz, and then you see a crossbow bolt appear and fire out when you pull the device to fire it out. And he says, "So, couple of quick notes here. It's never going to fire a piece of ammunition in reality ever again. Instead, it's going to fire those. They're technically magical, and they don't really last much longer after they have been fired and are expelled. But they'll serve exactly as the weapon's normal ammunition would, for your purposes, and it will do that until I decide to switch my infusion. And I think that's all of them, actually. Kind of looks to, so I've got the bike, and her armor, and your crossbow, and then he kind of says, and my cloak. That's it. And he says, my cloak, and points to something that's not there.
Is
What do you
it a
mean your
cloak of
coat?
invisibility?
No. It's, it's my cloak. And he reaches like this and puts his head up, puts like his hand up like this. And when he does so, you see that where a cloak would be kind of blends in with the background of the wall behind him. My cloak. It's a trick I learned from some of the long-eared races from where I'm from.
Cool. Camouflage.
Invisible cloak. Wow.
It seems to be.
What's the range of his crossbow?
It's
Normal crossbow range?
yeah, it doesn't change. But the cloak is just a cloak of Elvenkind that doesn't seem to show itself.
Yeah. I was being stupid.
An invisible cloak.
It's a cloak of aliens, guys.
So, anybody have anything they want to do during the 10 days?
Convince Gilbert to be quartermaster.
Oh, I thought that's what we were voting on.
Is he?
I thought Ren won that.
Yeah, Ren's the quartermaster.
Yeah, he won that.
I don't remember there being a vote for quartermaster, but
I don't.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
I
did
voted
it the
for Gilbert.
democratic way, where the
The
magic
ammunition
dictator
that we're
chose
using
who
for the
was gonna do
weapons
it, and he did it.
on time.
Ren's not a dictator.
Hold on. Shh.
Is it infinite, or is this something we have to replenish?
You're not sure. It definitely does seem to basically be infinite from what you've been able to denote, but you're not sure.
Can I look into it?
Yeah. So you'll note that the weapons will continue to fire regardless. However, if they are expended for longer than a minute, and that's any one has been expended for longer than a minute, After that duration, the ship's speed will be reduced. And so it will be reduced for the entirety of the cycle for every minute of a turret that is unleashed. Its current speed maximum is 500 feet per round, so it's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's basically, well, it's not terribly fast. It's actually probably faster than that. Let me go ahead and rework that.
At some point, I would like to talk to Ren about considering making Fogger a tactical operative instead of a passenger, as he may be better on weapons than Brack.
It's probably closer to 2,000 feet per second at maximum speed.
What?
You hear what Zach said? He was a little quiet.
No, I heard him. But even the lances though, like doesn't it require strength to use the lance?
It does require strength
Still-
to use the lance.
Have you tried to do that yet, or has he just been firing the other gun?
I think we've just been firing the other guns.
Do you want to try those out and see how you do with that?
So the left handle for the turret fires the charge shot. Basically, if you played Mega Man X, it shoots a bolt, and if you hold it down, it charges up the shot, and then you release, and it fires a bigger shot. The right handle, if you hold it down, will bring out a bright lance, kind of like a massive lance of energy, and you can move the handle like you were moving the hilt of a sword, and it will move the beam as if you were swinging it.
We need muscle guys for that.
You still got Valette to operate one of those.
That's true.
You know?
So right now, 4 people can do that. So Brox, Valette, Gilbert, and Vrack are dedicated as tactical. If Gilbert's not going to do it, we can take Gilbert off. Do you want to be tactical, Gilbert, or do you not really want to do that?
Well, I'd like to be on tactical, sure.
You can use either
Okay.
intelligence or dexterity when firing. So it's not just dex when shooting at distance. And then you can use either strength or wisdom when using the maneuvering thing.
Oh, I should use the wisdom one then. I should use that one because my wisdom is great. My dex sucks and my intelligence sucks.
Yeah, so with your current
13
station,
and 10.
it sounds like your 2 like swordsmen for the turrets will be Vrack and Gilbert, and your 2 shooters would be Brox and Valette. Well, Valette would be a good swords person too. Both of you would be good at it.
So Ren could also do that
I'd
function
probably
too.
be. Oh, I don't know. I'd be the next best shooter, was my thought, with my higher dex. So I'd pass my shooting roll off to
Fogger.
Fogger. Thank you.
Well, Gilbert and you would both be equally good swordsmen. You would be a better shot than me.
Yeah,
If
here-
anyone's not going to be on tactical, then it should be me.
Here's what I
We're
think.
going that way.
Here's what I think Zach is going for, though. If the fight goes down to a point where it's going to come into sword range, he'd rather jump on that bike and go fuck him up hand to hand.
This guy gets me.
He doesn't want to be tactical.
Oh, and I can jump
So-
on my Pegasus.
So
like-
Ren can do more than one thing. I mean, if I would want to jump in tactical too. I could, and I have the really high dex.
So then it would be the best bet would be Ren, Gilbert, Brox, and Fogger as tactical, and then have your basically your fighters, Red 1 and Red 2, be these kids with the flyers.
Let's do this, Vrack.
So then I would just have time change the designations to reflect that.
Okay. And that
Oh,
communicates
sure.
with them.
Sam's the only one who has one. That's it.
You have to fly.
It's kind of important. All right.
Ah, you can live without flying.
Nothing special happens on the way there, and you start to approach, and you can see that Umbra now, like you definitely see it in the distance throughout the majority of the trip, but eventually it starts to become much more massive, and in the time that it took to get there, it's definitely moved. So you've been kind of following at an arc that kind of winds out, more of a diagonal pattern than straight shot to how it shows on the map. That said, as you approach, you notice that it seems to have kind of an aura about it. It's kind of like a mucky kind of brown color, similar to like the deep purple that kind of held around Urs, the material plane. And based on what you can see here, the surface of it is like this dark, kind of blackish gray, muddy, kind of brown color. It looks like one portion of it is completely charred black, and it really doesn't look like there's anything on it from this height. I didn't expect much. If it's been out in the phlogiston, it probably... everything's been burned off of it, I'm sure.
Well, we can always take a look. Maybe there's a deposit of what we need on there.
If you're sitting in the pilot's chair, Fogger kind of moves at this point over to you, and is kind of holding its position, kind of like behind you, kind of leaning over your space, but not like invading it. He definitely seems very interested in this part.
Can we possibly seek to use the locate function to see if there might be any mithril, adamantine, diamond, or that material that Fogger needs?
I mean, that was basically what my plan was going to be, yes, so...
Yeah, I don't know what distance the locate function will... So we could try it.
I'm imagining it's going to be like the spell where it'll be 1,000 feet.
You'll definitely need to move down towards the surface.
Yeah, that was going to be the next part of the plan. Move down to the surface and start just...
Okay.
So here's a question. The locate feature on the ship, can that at all be used sort of like a scanner, aka as we're flying over it can be checking continually, or... Okay.
That's the scope. And you can use it continuously, like as you kind of fly over a space, sure, that's fine, but I thought you meant from a higher surface. If you want to...
No, not from a higher surface. I mean, like, if we're flying, like, over the surface, like, 100 feet up, can we just be pinging every, like, consistent distance or continually to...
Perfectly fine. That's absolutely a thing you can do. But, like, if you were looking at something from this kind of vantage point before you start to head down, the only thing that can really designate it and kind of look at it is the scope.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Excuse me. Sounds good.
Okay, still moving down then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we might as well do the scope as we're moving down, right? Just to see what
you
it says.
can.
Yeah.
Okay, so the scope activates, you kind of start moving the levers, looking into it, staring at the surface of this planetoid, this moon. Everyone starts to realize that there's something changing about the nature of the atmosphere as you pass into this brownish cloud around the surface of the moon. And you start to feel the ship kind of pulled, and it seems to be being pulled in multiple directions. Sam, make an Arcana intelligence check.
$22.
You kind of like focus in on the orrery, kind of moving it around, and you can see that Fogger's kind of watching you as you do it and kind of bracing himself on the back of your chair. As you're kind of spindling your fingers across the orrery and kind of holding this position, tilting and turning into these forces, you start to realize that it's not so much like an unknown, just kind of manifest force. There seems to be this kind of strange tidal wind that seems to be kind of breaching against the side of the craft and causing it to kind of like lean into another wind that's kind of leaning into the front. And what you manage to do is kind of tilt the ship down a bit so that the bottom of the craft is actually kind of taking the winds, and you're kind of descending down instead of going like down like this. You're kind of falling into it with the bottom of the craft. It definitely stables off after a fashion, and then you kind of breach this sphere outside of the Umbra and kind of move down towards the plane's surface. As that's happening, the scope activates, and you get a lot of question marks on a lot of the scan functions from the scope. And you note that the only thing that really seems to be present is the name of it, Umbra. And there does seem to be this kind of blinking red, like, kind of exclamation point at the bottom of the scope.
What does that mean?
Do you say inquiry? What does that mean?
Absolutely.
Phlogiston detected.
Okay, and what is phlogiston?
You are asking this and speaking to time, and Fogger kind of turns around and says, "What did it say?"
Phlogiston.
On Inside of a crystal sphere? That's not possible. It should have been dissipated. There shouldn't be anything like that here.
What does it mean?
He kind of looks. Well, where I come from, it's called the Aether. It's the stuff between the stars. It's very, very powerful spellfire. It's so powerful, the God Sphere. What's it doing here? It shouldn't be inside of a crystal sphere. It's supposed to dissipate. That's the
Is it
point.
dangerous to the ship?
To the ship, probably not. To us, yes. We should definitely proceed with caution.
Can we be exposed to it outside of the ship?
I don't see it anywhere outside of the craft. It'll definitely be something you'll see. Yeah. All right. The craft moves into the pattern that you prescribed. Sam, you're going to start the navigation function and start banging.
Yep.
Okay. You think based on everything that you have here, it will take the better part of 50 to 80 days to scan the entirety of the surface of this moon.
I mean, that's okay. We got 43 days.
Yeah, that's not right, Sam. If we're here, we've got 13 days.
I'm not going to want to scan like the whole thing, John. What I'm planning on doing is basically just sort of like scanning for a little while just to see if there's anything that pings, like maybe a couple of hours, see if anything pings, and if not, take a survey of the other people if we think it's worth it to...
Well, by the method you prescribed, you can only detect for one thing. You can't detect for all things at once. So,
I mean, that's fine.
what of the materials you had mentioned is the one that you're mainly seeking out?
Captain?
Well, I mean, if the Mizium would be, I think, the thing that Fogger wants the most, but we also need Mithril and Adamantine.
I think I'll be able to find Mizium on Tavernet, or at least a deal to get some. If you want to try something else here, that's fine by me.
Do we want to try for, excuse me, the adamantine then?
Yeah, I don't think it matters which one. Whatever you think.
Yeah,
There's
let's go
also
for the
diamonds,
adamantine.
but adamantine.
I think it probably matters because there's probably one or maybe two of them. So,
Well-
and also don't forget diamonds. That's also something we need.
I was going to say, here's the other question. We could search for a while for one and then switch to the other, and if we can't find it, either one in a certain amount of time, then we just ditch.
Right.
That's the
Or
other idea.
We could try hitting all of them at once real quickly and see if one of them pings. Maybe there's a bunch of one type under the surface, and it'd be silly to waste like 4 hours looking for the type that's not on this planet.
Yeah. So, like, one after the other.
Okay. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, that's what I'm suggesting.
What do you think, Sam?
Do you want to quickly just ping one for each and see if there's any
Yeah,
one of
we
them
can do that.
Okay. None of them hit. Off of a quick scan at your current position.
Right. So we can keep sort of going around and pinging, or we can, if we want to try, basically go to somewhere else a distance away, search for both again, repeat.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a locate object spell?
I do not.
Not readied, not prepared. It works
But
the
you
same as a
could-
scanner, though.
I know, but if we have two people going at the same time, one on the fucking Pegasus and one on the ship, then we double our surface area covered.
Right.
Yep, that's true. Yep, but I don't have a spell. Maybe we should have an away party. Have somebody go down there. Like that's something
You
the
don't-
captain usually does.
You don't have a space play, but
Only-
I mean, that's something we can borrow, you know?
Only
Put on your red shirt. Put on your red shirt, Gilbert.
Both Gilbert and I can prepare it. So
Well,
I think my shirt has a number on it too.
Tim
Number
actually is
11.
Tim is actually wearing a red shirt.
I
So-
know.
It's true.
Valette is wearing a red shirt.
After I got my armor upgrade.
Gilbert's wearing a blue shirt. It's for a medical officer. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not a
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
Not a
Yeah,
quartermaster.
that work.
I'm a
Yeah,
doctor.
that worked him.
I'm a doctor, not a quartermaster.
Exactly. I'm a doctor, not a quartermaster, Jim.
Okay.
Bones is the
I'd like to say that this seems illogical.
I can't even
like it.
see you, Matt. You're like way off the screen. Nobody can see you. You're just hiding.
Is that better?
Yeah. Not that anybody watches this, but anywho.
Not that anybody wants to see my face, but
Right. If you choose one, let me know. If not, then just tell me what you're doing.
Come on, decisive captain. Choose one. Do it.
Sure, let's look for adamantine.
Do
sure.
it.
Okay.
We'll scan for that for a little while.
All right. You're moving about. Go ahead and make me an investigation check, Sam, as you are moving about the surface looking for.
Can I help him?
Not,
Is this like intelligence investigation? Or...
Yeah, sorry.
Perception?
Intelligence investigation. Not
Oh,
really,
nice,
because
nice,
only one can enter the interface.
Got it.
Hey, I actually have investigation trained. I forgot about that. Plus 10.
Nice.
All right. What'd you get?
21.
Pretty good. So as you're kind of moving about, keeping an eye on the navigation map and kind of staying in the interface as it's moving slowly in, a direction you engaged in, you don't see anything pinging, but you're looking down at the surface and you're pretty sure you see a crater with what appears to be a door in it. It looks like
Ooh.
looks like a door. There's like a door there.
I just sort of like stop the ship.
Okay.
So-
Yeah.
There's a door down there, it looks like. So who wants to go and hunt the mole people?
And I jump on the auto cycle.
Wait.
looking-
Is there any way for us to keep in communication while you're doing that?
I have a short-range
there-
communication device.
Guys, I have another idea. It takes me 10 minutes and it lasts for an hour, and it doesn't matter upon distance.
Do you want
Yeah, do that.
If you test out the short-range communication devices, what you're going to very quickly realize is they don't seem to work in...
What about
This
the
plane.
sending stones that
Your two sending
Colette and
stones,
I have?
they will work.
So we still have two sending stones that communicate to each other.
Yeah,
Correct.
2 sending stones and my spell, so we have ways to at least stay in touch.
Excellent. So what, Valette and Vrak? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I'll
correct
jump
idea.
on Star Dancer.
Yeah, I'll take the 10 minutes to cast rare
Very telepathic bomb.
telepathic bound.
How many
yeah.
targets can that touch?
I believe it is 7. Let me pull that up really quickly. That's what, 6th level? No, 5th level. 8 willing creatures.
Perfect. That's everybody.
Including Star Dancer.
Yeah. You have a telepathic link with this.
I want sugar. I want carrots. I'm a robot. I don't know why.
Well, they're getting ready to go. Could I use the scope to look at the door?
Yeah. As you're staring at it, you see that it appears to be made out of question mark material. And as you're focusing in on it and looking at it, what you see appears to be what looks like a squid on the front with hands next to its head, kind of like this. And beneath the tentacles, what appears to be a brain.
In your squid tentacles green.
No, there's no color. It just seems to be just kind of a carving.
Come on, Valette, we woke up a
I would-
demon. Let's go wake up a Cthulhu god.
Yeah, I would definitely mention that to the two of them before they leave.
Balette would be the one to say something that inadvertently does it.
Let's go, buddy!
Oops, I accidentally rallied your Patagwan. All right, hold on a second here. I gotta update the steed. Bear with me here for a second. Sorry, guys.
Would we know anything about the space that we're going into, like, and the creatures that inhabit this space, or are we, or is that not really?
You don't get much off of it. It seems that there's a lot of question marks as well on the scope. It doesn't seem to know what it is.
Okay.
Just remember
if-
when you're going down there, Valette, Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Yes, that's it.
Clathu, Barada, Nikto.
No, I don't think so.
Out
Out of character, I have a sense. I have a sense of what it might be.
That is a perfect picture, by the way. You can go ahead and get that.
Is that
inspiration.
Flash Gordon? Is that Flash Gordon? Oh, I love that. Nice job, Kevin.
He will save every one of us. Gilbert, go ahead and get inspiration.
For that super meme.
The
Flash.
dope
Yep.
gifs. Okay,
Alright,
so
I'll be right back.
who is the away team?
So we have two people that can go in the bike, right?
Mhm.
But you're taking your horse instead. Valette,
The bike.
you're going on
How
the
fast?
horse.
How fast does the,
The
bike
bike
go?
can take two people so long as one of those people is Gilbert or Brox. Nobody else will fit in
Oh.
the basket.
Smaller.
Nobody else will fit in the basket.
Can we both fit on the Pegasus?
Yeah.
How fast does the bike go?
Let's just take the Pegasus. If we
Alright.
don't need the bike.
500. What was it? 500 feet a minute.
Unless Brox wants to go with him,
Something like that.
and he can
Oh, the
take
bike's
the
a
bike.
lot faster.
Brox, do you want to go with them?
Yes.
Fogger says.
So
Alright,
Brox
then
can
we-
take the bike.
Fogger says I wouldn't mind going down as well. I think I understand the break a bit better than last time. If you trust me.
Or you could just ride on the pony.
And then you take the bike. That'll work. Valette, do you mind?
Works for me.
Not at all.
Hops
Jump
on.
on Starfire.
As he does so, he kind of checks his weapons, pulls a dagger, kind of sets it back into its sheath with his lower hands, and then checks his sword, sets it back into place, and then you see him kind of like touch what appears to be some sort of wand, but it kind of has like a pistol grip to it. All right. Smiles. I'm ready. And he grabs onto your waist with his lower hands and kind of like holds his hands out to the side, kind of like just inspecting, keeping ready.
When I see him touch the wand, I'm like, I was wondering, do you think there's any way that you could attach my wand to my arm?
Maybe with some time. Materials.
If possible, when we get to planet Tabernae, we should look into. That'd be of great assistance.
Sure. Absolutely. We can definitely try that. All right. The horse and bike fly out and descend down towards the crater. Once you get to it, you descend into the crater proper, and you can see that the door is about 20 feet tall. It has a very kind of darkened nature to the metal that it appears to be made of, and the metal, from what you can tell from this distance, Proxgar, is not anything like anything you've ever seen before. As I mentioned, the pattern.
Just out of curiosity, it is just Sam and Ren left, right?
And Gilbert.
Gilbert. Yeah, it's
I thought Gilbert went down with them. I missed that.
Big-
No.
Okay.
no. Gilbert, do you want to go down?
No.
Okay, because you're small enough,
I
you could
was-
probably fit on the horse. The Pegasus is pretty buff.
That's true. I don't know. They didn't really ask me, so I'll just hang up here.
Yeah, it's probably safer anyway.
Well, if they get into trouble and they get that's fine. If they need healing, I was thinking, but that's fine.
We got a paladin.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
I
I
got a
tech-
paladin who's wearing a red shirt, but
And an artifact.
and I have a diamond so I can bring one person back from the dead.
There you go.
true.
Yeah,
and if
just-
things get really crazy, we could always, mention door there.
Yeah, or
Yep.
fly down there and hit them with the batteries. But anyway, the door, like I mentioned, it appears to be like a 4-tentacled squid in the center, with 2 hands kind of off to the side of it. Beneath the tentacles of the squid is what appears to be kind of like a brain, and yeah, that's what it looks like. There doesn't appear to be any handles or anything on the door. it doesn't seem there's any means of egress that you can tell. Roxgar, if you kind of move over to it, kind of look at it, without touching it or anything, you can kind of guess that it's probably about 5 feet thick. And you think it might be so razor thin sealed that it must have been crafted by dwarves. Whatever's inside of it is pretty well locked in there. Fogger kind of like snaps on a pair of goggles himself and kind of looks around after scratching his eye, kind of shutting his eyes in there, looking around, and he says, so phlogiston is kind of like a bright red or orange kind of coloration. Sometimes it can kind of be like a bluish, pinkish color, but it definitely looks like you'll recognize it. If you see anything that looks like about what I described just then, move away from it and try and steer clear, especially if it's moving. Gosh, I hope it's not moving.
Have you seen anything like this tentacled creature in front of us before?
He looks to it. No, a kraken?
A star kraken?
I don't know. This door looks like someone closed it on purpose, though. I mean, I don't mind.
Let's open it.
I don't mind having an exploratory nature. I'm definitely keen to see what's inside of a treasure chest, but well, let's be cautious, especially if there's phlogiston about. It might be inside.
I will try not to say anything.
Open the door.
It's got no door handle, so are you trying to push it or pull it?
I'm gonna try and push it first.
I
Okay.
help.
So you set yourself in place and kind of brace and kind of push. It definitely feels a lot lighter than you were anticipating, in that it feels like something is kind of there's an allowance for its movement. But then it gets to about 5 feet in and you kind of enter into the rim of it. The wall around you that you're pushing into and the floor beneath you appears to be completely perfect, flat, like silver. It's just shiny, just kind of like I think they were just shiny silver, like 80s metal, just chrome. But it stops. It doesn't seem to be pushable past that point.
So it's not pushable anymore. Can I pull it now?
You pull it back into its regular position, and once you get it past that, it starts to be a little bit harder. It feels like the bottom is now kind of tracking against the stone, which is slightly kind of distorted. And as you're kind of pulling and pulling, go ahead and make a strength athletics check with advantage because Valet's helping.
28.
You grab a hold of the hand of the thing, kind of like lifting up to get a hold of it, and Valet does likewise, and the two of you kind of heave-ho, and then it starts to fall outwards. Two of you go ahead and make dexterity saving throws.
You get a +4 to this.
19.
You narrowly avoid
20.
getting smashed, and then everyone behind you has plenty of time. They don't need to quickly react, but the bottom obviously kind of hits the ground first. And it smashes down into the dirt, causing dirt to kind of expel outwards. Sam, Ren, Gilbert up in the ship, kind of scoping down, especially Sam because he's in navigation mode, see the door kind of slam down and kind of cause the dust cloud.
You okay down there?
Just
So
open
far,
the door.
brother, so far.
It reveals a passageway that seems to be completely silvered all the way through, and it leads into what appears to be like a tea stop.
You see anything with them special eyes there, Fogger?
Nothing really. They're more for minutia and small stuff.
Understood.
Just got them ready just in case. I was hoping to inspect the carving, but no big deal. He kind of looks inside. I don't see any phlogiston, so we should be good.
Is the pathway big enough to fit the bike and the horse?
It's 20 feet high, about 20 feet wide, square. I mean, you pulled out the block. And yeah, it seems to be wide enough to fit both.
Okay. Then I say we stay on our vehicles.
Much like the ends of the cartoon Transformers movie from 1980s, you drive into the belly of the beast on the bike, moving around like Rodimus Prime. That's the way I've got it pictured in my head. And you head through the T section, which is about 60 or so feet down. There's apparently light. It just seems to have like a light source that's present. It's kind of like a shiny, silvery kind of just atmosphere. Nice even TV lighting. But it doesn't seem that there's a source for this light. It might be just reflective, like there's a light source somewhere, and the silver nature of the walls and everything is just kind of causing everything to be lit by it. That said, left or right?
Left.
Okay. Looking down the path and heading that way, it seems that the path moves inwards. As you continue inwards, it starts to descend down in kind of a long loop. After about 400 or so feet of this, it kind of seems like you kind of move about like 3/4 of the way around the circle and down a little bit. And it comes to a point where there is a drop-off that seems to go down. It's probably about 20 feet. It seems to follow the same patterning, and it drops straight down into what you presume the core of the planet, core of the plane. And then there is another door. This door seems to be sealed off with a metal door, identical to the one upstairs, except that it is complete. It doesn't seem to have been burned off to simpleness. The squid head appears to have eyes, and there seems to be a beak underneath the 4 tentacles. It seems that the tentacles are latched onto the brain, kind of pulling it towards itself. The hands appear to be attached to the silhouette behind the head of the creature, which is kind of like that. And it seems that there's a lot of detail in this metal variant of the door upstairs.
Any more recognizable now there?
Some sort of strange squid-headed man, I guess. Apologies, I'm not terribly familiar with this entity.
Villette will activate her divine sense just in case
Okay.
anything's about.
Does that deal with aberrations at all, or no?
Looking now.
Okay.
Why can I this one? Find some way.
It doesn't seem that there's anything, and also divine sense doesn't really puncture through doors. What you do notice about this door, Vrak kind of inspecting it, and especially Brock's, it being made out of metal, it looks like it might slide to the left if you kind of grab a hold of the bar, like patterning on it, and slide it. You could probably pull it to one side to slide it into a pocket.
We keep going, or we check the other path? I'm gonna let you all decide on this one.
So at this juncture, you can go through the door, you can drop into the hole, or you can go back up and check the other passageway.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to check the other side first, just to see if there might be something different. Though
Okay.
I'm curious now if Friend should be here in case to check for any traps that might be about.
Nah, we'll be alright.
You need me to come down, just say the word.
Okay.
If you need.
So if you go up back to the T and then continue on to the right, this one kind of stops and then sharply goes inwards, and then it appears to have kind of a set of steps that kind of go down. At the base of those steps, which you're able to navigate with flight and what have you, there is a massive hall-like structure that you kind of look into. However, the second that the stairs stop, the silver nature of everything is no longer the case. This interior hallway, it appears to be made out of chitin, It appears to have kind of like a slickness to it, and kind of like a fleshy nature to the walls, but all of it is kind of black in coloration. And all along the walls on the left and the right appear to be these very strange kind of, maybe about 4 feet high on either side, like locks. They look like they're about person size.
You said locks?
Yeah, like kind of like a grip, like you put a person against the wall. Kind of like.
Okay.
Have you ever been in that ride at again at carnivals? I guess it's carnival night. That spin around really fast like that. And you kind of slide up.
Yeah.
Some of them have like the thing that you kind of latch onto. You know, those,
Okay.
but more fleshy and alien. Fucking Kevin's on point. This guy's winning it all. It does look like there might be something at the far end of the hallway, but it definitely is outside of your vision. You can see Fogger kind of going, well, this is really weird. I've never seen anything like this. Nothing ever at all.
Welcome to the group. Shall we continue?
He kind of pulls his wand out. Yeah.
Cautiously, but yes. Valette pulls out her wand as well, just in case.
Right, you're a pretty attentive boy, so what you notice is that not only does he have the wand in one hand, it seemed to make an important point of drawing it. In his lower hand, he's got that in his left hand. In his lower hand, underneath the wand, he's holding the hilt of the dagger. And his right hand seems to be kind of, like the top one, seems to kind of keep reaching for this weapon. And his right hand beneath it seems to be like ready to kind of reach up and kind of grab towards the sword as well. If you had to venture a guess, if this guy starts fighting, he's going to have a wand in one hand, a dagger in another, and then two hands on one side are going to be holding the sword that's versatile on that side. If your imagination goes, you're pretty sure that that's what that guy's setting up for him. All right. You continue on.
We're gonna continue down the hall.
Okay. You definitely get a very strange vibe to this place. It definitely has a scent that's a little different to the exterior. It smells kind of wet, and I guess the best way to kind of describe it is like
Musty?
yeah, but kind of like, you know when you're washing dishes and like you're really scrubbing on some like nasty pot or pan, kind of has like a metally kind of like rotted material kind of smell to it. As you kind of continue on, a lot of you notice that there are lines in the ground in front of the clamps that have kind of been segmented into the floor pattern. And they appear to have like a liquid kind of running through them. As you're currently viewing stuff in dark vision, right? Yeah. You aren't really able to denote any kind of light sense, but as you kind of like realize that it does appear that there is some sort of illumination outside of the silver from outside in this room, because it doesn't have that presence, you notice that the water or liquid in it is kind of glowing kind of like a just fetid kind of green. As you continue on, the hallway, or this long hall, seems to come to a point where there are a total of 6 pillars that kind of run up really close to each other, within 5 feet of each other from the vertical sense, and probably about 15 feet away from each other, kind of opening up to a path. And you see more green light. It seems to be kind of eking out of these holes that, based on what you can see, seem to be about 20 feet high, and in a position that they look like they might be eyes of a very massive creature. As you kind of stop and kind of focus on that, you also notice that the ground around it, kind of up to those eyes, is kind of moving, like kind of pulsing. And you see that it looks like it's tentacles.
I would think to everyone, I think we shouldn't go further yet. I don't like the look of that undulating ground.
You hear a slap, kind of a sound. And as you kind of look up to it, you see something kind of coming out of the top of whatever this structure is. And it looks like a bright green, kind of glowing brain. Massive in size. And these tentacles are kind of reaching out over the top of whatever bowl it's kind of set in. As you're looking at it, it looks like the thing that's holding it is a massive skull. And it looks like these tentacles are kind of writhing out of every orifice of this massive skull onto the ground. It's surrounded by the green liquid. It's well off in the distance, like maybe 100 or so feet away from you all. But it seems to be kind of just present and kind of strange and moving.
I would describe the situation that we're in telepathically to the people on the ship
1 second.
and ask. Oh God.
They can hear our thoughts.
Okay. The second you start relaying that communication, you up on the ship start hearing this.
Oh boy.
And you're like, someone broke into the chat. Brack, you mentally project your thoughts, but it doesn't seem that they're replying back.
What in the hell?
I don't like that.
John, quick question. As soon as I start hearing that undulating thing,
You wouldn't
Can I
hear the
start-
undulating part.
I
Right?
mean the undulating
yeah.
voice.
We can hear that sound.
That's what they hear
Yeah, the
on
voice.
the outside. Is the weird,
Yeah.
aberrational voice. Yeah.
I just want to start trying to cast comprehend languages, which it will take 10 minutes because I don't have it prepared, but
Okay.
just in case it lasts for a long time.
Sam, do you think we should start flying down?
The craft doesn't look like it'll fit
What?
in the door, but yeah.
I mean, I can do that really quickly before I start casting that, but I want to cast comprehend languages to.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, I just want to know for sure. You are moving the ship into the crater and landing. Is that right?
Well, no, we haven't decided that, but so do you want to do that? Does that make sense to you, or?
As I said,
Or at
we
least-
can. I'm leaving this one up to you.
That's fine. If I hear that and I think they're in trouble, let's go land. Yeah.
Okay. Can we stealth before we do that?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Just remember where you parked. Another Star Trek Voyage home
What is-
fucking reference. I'm loving it.
Nice.
What did it look like from the outside when we stopped to get Fogger? I never asked that question, but I mentioned I wanted to.
That is true. He did want to know that.
Wait, stop to get Fogger. You mean the
The
ship?
Yeah,
camouflage.
we kept
ship,
the
yeah.
camouflage or the concealment on specifically because Brack wanted to see what it looked like from the outside.
Conceal means that it's invisible. You can see right through it.
But
If-
there's not even like a haziness or anything that someone closely perceptive could see. It's completely
gone.
Okay,
Unless the
all I
door,
wanted to know.
unless the door drops out, then the interior portion is visible, but the exterior portion is
Yep.
still invisible. Again, think Star Trek Voyage home.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind also they were able to detect us even if they didn't see us. So
Okay.
Yeah, but just
Anyway.
curious.
So, it seems to kind of be creating some kind of buffer. Like you definitely feel the severing of the link that you have with anything outside of the this place. You then all hear a voice kind of enter your heads, the ones that are inside of the hall, and it says, "I do not seek to harm you, but I do seek to be freed. If you wish,
wow.
if you wish to raise arms, then do so. If you wish to place me on the material plane of Urs where I belong, so I can continue my conquest, then aid me. What is your choice?"
Vlet does hand signals.
Do you kind of turn around, like looking at your back entryway? Like you're prepared to retreat? You see about 6 forms, humanoid in shape, kind of appear floating behind you out of nowhere. They all have tentacles drooping from the bottoms of their heads, kind of purplish colored skin, and their robes are solid black, and they all kind of float like about 30 feet behind you, kind of in a strange and very hard to kind of group pattern behind you, kind of blocking off your entrance, but there's definitely holes between them that you could run past, but there are definitely 6 of them.
Who are you that wishes to conquer, brother?
My name is not important, nor is yours. I will take over the material plane of Urz. My children will rule it, as they were intended to do so since time immemorial.
And, who gone placed you here there, brother?
That is not important either. They are long since dead or gone. Understand this. If you allow me my conquest, I will allow you to live as kings. I will allow you to travel the stars with power. And I will allow you to live. If you wish to raise your blades and contest me, do so now and die. And at that prospect, you see the tentacles start going like it's really interested in that part.
I'm so happy.
This is where Vlett really is trying to not say something that's gonna screw us up.
Fogger, you can see, is slowly drawing the sword, and the dagger is already naked from its sheath.
Let's do this then, brother. I'm gonna draw
Lightning
the
bolt.
blade.
Asafune is drawn, the wand is reached for, everybody is starting to prepare their actions. You see 4 more of these weird creatures appear, floating near the massive brain in the bowl. And that is where we'll end the session for tonight.
So good. So
We'll be
good.
picking up back next
jeez.
session with the fight against the
Nice.
Prisoner of the Dark Star. Thanks for watching, and kill a session.
Wow. So there are 10 of them?
The session's not the only thing he's going to